อย่าเพิ่งงงนะครับว่าผมมายืนอยู่ทำไมในโรงเก็บขยะหรือว่าโรงแยกขยะแห่งนี้เพราะว่าจริงๆสถานที่แห่งนี้ถือว่าเป็นสถานที่ที่สำคัญมากๆคุณผู้ชมรู้ไหมครับว่ากรุงเทพมหานครของเราแค่เฉพาะในกทมเรายังไม่สามารถลดปริมาณขยะได้ตามเป้าหมายเลยและที่สำคัญเราผลิตขยะวันหนึ่งมากกว่า10,000 ตันแม้ว่ากทมจะตั้งเป้าสร้างโรงไฟฟ้าขยะ4แห่งแต่กำจัดขยะได้เพียงแค่ 4,000 ตันต่อวันเท่านั้นดังนั้นตอนนี้กรุงเทพมหานครกำลังเผชิญกับภาวะขยะล้นเมืองและประเทศไทยของเราเองก็มีขยะล้นประเทศเพิ่มขึ้นทุกวันเพราะฉะนั้นวันนี้ Smart World จะพาไปดูโครงการดีๆที่ชื่อว่า EPR ครับตอนนี้ผมยืนอยู่กับคุณจาโกทวิกนะฮะโอ้โหเป็นผู้ชายร่างสูงรูปหล่อซึ่งเป็นผู้บริหารโปรเจกต์โครงการที่ชื่อว่า Minerals ที่ออสเตรเลียจริงๆแล้วเนี่ยเขาเป็นคนเนเธอร์แลนด์แล้วเขาก็อยู่กับโปรเจกต์ EPR นี้มายาวนานเพราะว่าประเทศเนเธอร์แลนด์หรือว่าฮอลแลนด์ที่เรารู้จักกันดีเนี่ยดำเนินโครงการแบบนี้ให้ประชาชนมามีส่วนร่วมในทุกภาคส่วนมาอย่างยาวนานมากๆเพราะฉะนั้นเดี๋ยวให้คุณจาโกเล่าให้เราฟังนิดนึง Nice to meet you, Jago.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Yeah, could you please explain about the journey of the EPR project in your country? So, or how has it been? How long has it been? And how successful that you have done?
It's been a long journey.
Okay.
And actually, it started before I even joined. The moment that I joined, there had already been about 20 years of negotiations between companies, the national governments, municipalities, waste management companies, all trying to figure out how to make
everyone
circular economy work.
Yeah, okay.
It started with paper, and as you can see here, you can see that paper is a valuable material.
Okay.
So that's kind of easy. You can cover the collection costs, and then you can recycle it, and it can work. Same thing in the Netherlands. So paper is kind of easy. Glass, slightly more difficult because the cost of collecting it is higher. So the companies that make products and put it in glass,
Okay.
they had to pay a little bit extra and subsidize the collection and the sorting and the recycling of plastic so that it would work. And that started to work. Plastic is the difficult one. And plastic is the one that I'm most concerned about.
Okay.
Because plastic can end up, when it ends up in the environment, it's very harmful
Yeah.
to us people in the end. And in between to animals and plants. It's something that doesn't belong in nature. And we also don't like to see it on the streets.
Yeah.
We want to have a clean environment, so make sure that we collect all the plastic. And then when we collect it, the best thing is to actually recycle it.
So you have all the methods to bring back the plastic and reuse it. You do something about it and then reuse it because people tend to just leave it away. The EPR project has been a long journey, more than 20 years.
Yes.
Even in Netherlands.
Yes, especially in the Netherlands. I hope that, I think that Thailand can be much faster.
Sure.
Yes, I've seen that there are people here in the government and in industry that actually want to push this forward.
Okay.
They need more support, maybe from the people in Thailand as well.
Okay.
So it'd be great if the people of Thailand can support industry and the government in trying to get this target by separating their waste, for example.
How do we start? So which part of organizations or which part of group of people that they should be the one who initiate or be the main person to act on this kind of project?
Well, government is definitely an important actor, yes. Government, but also the industry and the people also have a role. It's a combination of all the parties that are involved.
Okay.
You cannot do this on your own.
Okay.
Like you can see it here, it's a lot of people involved in getting material back to any recycling station.
Okay. And if they don't follow the EPR, so they have to be punished.
The EPR is a way of collecting money from industry and using it to recycle more.
Okay.
And if companies do that, that's a good thing. If you implement EPR fully, then the biggest companies first and then the smaller will start to contribute and pay their part. Yes, they will have to in some way contribute. And if they all do, it's not even a big price for them, as long as they all do it. So
Okay.
make sure that all the companies join.
And for normal people like us, in Thailand, considering that we are a developing country, like
Yes.
normal people like us, how to make them contribute more.
Well, there are other developing countries that are also developing EPR, so it's possible.
Okay.
We see some examples in Chile, Kenya, Vietnam is also
Okay.
starting with this. So, there are ways, and maybe it's going to look different than where I come from in the Netherlands. Yeah,
Okay.
we also have a longer history of trying, and so you can maybe learn from the mistakes that we've been making. We've been making lots of mistakes.
Okay. So aim high, but don't know how to do it exactly.
Well, so you aim high, but then you make little steps to get there,
Okay.
and start doing.
Okay.
That's what would work.
So for your country, Netherlands, scale from 1 to 10. So what?
How good it is?
How do you give yourselves a point? So you've been doing great for this.
Yeah, I think globally the Netherlands is one of the leaders in circular
Yeah.
economy.
So 9 maybe.
And
You have clean country right now.
yeah, so it's pretty good.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's a process, and it will not stop. We're
Okay.
going to keep continuing. To
Don't stop.
improve.
Consistency is
Always.
very
Yeah.
important.
There's no end. It's never going to be finished.
Okay.
You change behavior, you keep behaving even better and better and better.
Okay. And all group of the people, all the stakeholders.
Yes, all the
Must be involved.
stakeholders, companies, people, governments, waste management companies,
Okay.
all of it. Yes.
Sounds great, but not very easy in Thailand, to be honest. But thank you so much, Thiago. Mr. Kuragos, could you please explain to us about the EPR project that has been established in Europe? So how long has it been and how successful so far?
Yeah, EPR is not new to Europe. Almost 30 years now after the implementation of first EPR system for packaging. And of course, over the years, it's also expanded to other waste materials like electrical and electronic batteries, end-of-life vehicles. So there is now different waste streams that are covered by EPR regulations. But of course, EPR has seen, after the initial years of implementation in Europe, it has seen an expansion internationally. There is now more than 400 or 500 PROs internationally, producer responsibility organizations, just for packaging, and there is other for electrical and electronic batteries and so on. So it's a solution, it's a tool, financial tool that has been used in Europe. It's proven its success, and now it's growing internationally, and it's very interesting trying to take those principles and implement them in totally different contexts. There is no copy-paste, there is principles that you can use, and you need to adjust them to the local conditions to make it work.
Okay.
I have been doing for the last few years a consultant work in different developing countries, Asia, Africa, and so on, besides Europe and around Europe, where we do a lot of work. And of course, you find every time that there is similar issues, and there are also many differences
Yes, okay.
that you need to take into account in order to be able to implement something that will make sense.
Okay.
It has to fit the geography, the topography, the culture of people. Of course, EPR is waste management re-engineering.
Okay.
And part of this re-engineering means re-engineering the mindsets of people, changing cultures, and you need different tools to change the cultures, but you need to provide a system to people that is convenient to collect their waste and educate them how to prepare the material, how to sort their material, because food recycling starts from sorting the material at source. This has been proven, has been studied, economic studies, feasibility studies, life cycle assessments. You need to sort the material at the source to have good quality recycling.
Oh, you have answered me really clearly. Before we're going to ask you about how do we apply the practice in Thailand in particular, I would like to ask you first. So at the first establishment, what was the most important thing to do? The most necessary?
Well, because the EPR is shifting the responsibility from the state or the local authorities to the private sector, to the industry, the first important thing is to find a good understanding and eventually trust between the industry that takes the responsibility and the government that will need to give up the responsibility. And of course, giving up the responsibility for the operations by the state does not mean that you don't have a role. The state has a very important role to support, to nurture, to help the EPR to provide results. So this understanding at the beginning between the industry and the trust between the industry and the state, and when I say state, I also mean municipalities, local authorities, it's very critical. The second important thing is to get people to sort their ways. So once you find a way to find a good cooperation between the key players, you collect the money out of EPR.
Okay.
You need to put the system in place.
Okay.
But whatever you do has no sense if people do not learn how to sort their waste and bring their material. So first is the good understanding between the key players, and second is to get people to sort their waste.
So, but when you speak of key players, so who are those guys, key players? The government?
It's the government, it's the local authorities,
Local authorities?
it's the industry, the producers that pay,
That means almost all industry.
almost all industry, whoever imports or fills products in
Okay.
packaging and sells on the
So
market,
people in the community?
people in the community who sort their waste.
Okay.
So these are primarily the key players, municipalities, citizens, the state, and those who pay, the
Okay.
industry.
Yeah, and then focus on Thailand right now. Because you're standing in Thailand, do you know Thai culture? Do you understand Thai people? Their mindset?
It would be a humongous step to say that we understand the culture being here for a few days, 2 or 3 days.
So how long you been here in Thailand?
3 days now, it's the third day.
Okay, that's difficult to
And
understand.
I was here 20 years ago as a tourist.
Okay.
No, it's a big thing to say that we understand the culture. We learned a lot today from listening to how material is collected,
Okay.
and how it's arriving here. And we've seen in the streets also waste pickers, informal sector. I should say that one of the most important issues in the developing countries is that they have a significant informal sector. These are the people who are collecting the material today, and they contribute a lot to the economy, to the recycling. But they eventually, when you are aiming for high recycling rates, you need to also start organizing systems to collect more material. But that has to be done in cooperation and in synchrony with the integration of these waste pickers.
Okay.
Otherwise, of course, they are the people who do it today, so you cannot take their living away. And the second thing, they will oppose it. They will just collect the material. They will vandalize the infrastructure. So you need to make them part of the evolution. Now, saying it is easy, doing it is not so easy. There are not many experiences in Europe, because Europe, only in the Balkans area, there is the issue of waste pickers is significant, but you can learn from places like Latin America, where in the last few years they've done a very good job in implementing EPR and integrating the informal sector.
Okay.
So you need to pick up experiences from places that have similar challenges, but you need to also pick up experiences from Europe, because the principles are applied there, they are tried and tested. Some solutions are tested and you can use them.
Okay.
Some solutions will not be the right solution for Thailand, and you need to find your own ways.
Yeah, I
Yesterday
know.
we were discussing to industry here, and I was telling that you will make a lot of mistakes in the process, but you have to make the mistakes.
I couldn't
You
agree
have to
more.
learn.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like that you mentioned that there's no copy-paste in any country in the world, so we have to learn from their failures and their success, and then apply and find your own way. So how do we begin efficiently in Thailand right now?
Well, I think if we go back to what we said, who are the key players and what comes first? First of all,
Bring them together?
You need to bring together. There is what we found in these 2 or 3 days, which is very interesting, is that there is a lot of interest from the industry, especially bigger companies, bigger players, which is very encouraging, because those are the people who will pay,
Okay.
and they are interested to find a solution. So you get those people grouped together, working in the same direction. We saw initiatives, but there is fragmentation, so people go in different directions. There needs to be some cooperation between the key players, and of course start talking to the government in a more organized way. We're discussing, for example, yesterday starting a preliminary organization that will probably get like a preliminary license from the government to set up a PRO and start working,
Okay.
even if it's just preliminary, because there needs to be organization, there needs to be some people employed to work directly to set this up.
Okay.
And of course, talk with the authorities, build this trust, build this rapport and the trust,
Okay.
so that they can work together, because the government has to support the industry
Okay.
pretty much to make this happen.
Have you ever met any of them, the high power, high authorities, such as Minister of the Ministry of Natural Resources, for example?
We haven't met government officials, but what I think is important, and because we saw in the discussions that there is interest at the society, there is interest at the industry, and there is this fear that politically may not be pursued correctly. What I told the industry people is that it's your job at this point to organize and demonstrate to the government that you can find the solutions, because the government
Okay.
will make a lot of their decisions based on what you prove to them you can do.
Yeah, I have done my job producing this show already. At least.
So yes, showing the government what the industry
Okay.
can do is important. It will impact. I believe it will impact the way the government will decide how to deal with this issue. So showing that you can do it at the industry level,
Okay.
it will be easier to convince the government to move into that direction.
Okay, I'm trying to transfer your message to them, and hopefully they will watch my show.
I hope.
In the end. So thank you very much, Kiraga.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your advice.